It is Thursday's football show. Nathan with you this evening. We are in the midst of the international window. Nations League on tonight. Spain 1-0 up against Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't start that game for Portugal. A couple of other scorelines to keep an eye on. Norway 1-0 up at Serbia, who've qualified for the World Cup. Sweden 1-0 up against Slovenia. And Northern Ireland 1-0 down at home in their game against Greece. There's around an hour gone at Windsor Park. Northern Ireland, who like the Republic of Ireland, are one of the few teams never to have won a game in the Nations League. We hope that will change for the Republic of Ireland on Saturday. Their in-year event to take on Armenia, and we'll have full live commentary of that game on Saturdays off the ball. Myself and Vinny Perth will be on commentary. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, build up from 1 o'clock with John, and we'll have all the post-match analysis as well. Of course, this is the first of 4 fixtures taking place over the next couple of weeks. 53106, as always, is the text number. Now, Paul McShane this week announced that he is stepping away from playing completely. He's been with Manchester United with their under-23 side as a player coach over the last year, but he's stepping away from the playing side of it. A brilliant career, 33 caps with the Republic of Ireland, over 400 senior appearances across English football, and I'm delighted that Paul is with us this evening. Evening, Paul.
Hi, Nathan.
How are you keeping?
Yeah, not too bad, you?
All that hanging around with the under-23s, you can only do so much of it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm knackered, to be honest with you, Nathan, now. Yeah, they're getting sharper as time goes on, so it was a great experience, but I think that role only has a short shelf life.
Can you explain to us how it came about, and because when people see Paul McShane playing with an under-23 side, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
Well, I was doing a bit of coaching at the club at the beginning of last season, and then I was like with the 14s and 16s just to have a look. I was with Travis Binion, and then a head of coaching came in, Justin Cochran, and he heard that I was in the building, so he basically asked me would I fancy the role, and I said yeah. And see, the under-23s work. You can play. I think it's 3 or 4 players that are over 23. So you could sort of get around the rule that way. So when I played the games, I could coach during the games and help the younger players. So that's how you sort of get around that. I know it's a bit strange seeing a 36-year-old lining up for a 23s team, but yeah, that's how it worked really.
Is it something that Manchester United would have done before? Is it something when you were playing matches you would have been coming up with other players who were at a different stage of their career?
No, well, it was the first time that Man United done this role, this hybrid role. But I think they're trying to get back to the old days of, like the old reserve days. You would play with much senior players than you, and there'd be a lot of people in around the first team that weren't getting regular football would come down for some games. So you get the seniority that way. But in the under-23s games, that's missing a little bit. So I think they wanted to bring a little bit more of that back.
That hybrid role you talk about on the pitch, can you talk me through how that actually works? Like, would I be insane to suggest that if you're playing at centre back and you're in the middle of a game and you're playing an offside trap, that you might decide, you know what, I'm just going to step back a couple of yards here and play these guys on side and see how my 3 other defenders respond for an in-game setting? Or at times you're almost creating issues for your fellow defenders to test them?
Yeah, any time that I made a mistake, it was always a test. I was always testing the lads, I know I would initially when I first started, I was basically just training the way I'd normally train and play the way I'd normally play, where I'd be quite vocal and I talk a lot, helping like my defenders, help my midfielders, just are getting just motivation talk, but then it got to a point where I'm thinking I can't be the only one speaking here, so I would basically encourage, especially my other centre back, I would actually ask him questions of, right, you tell me where to be on this say wide free kick, or how, like I'll be saying, how's my line and stuff, and I'm going to take my line off you now for a few minutes and all that sort of stuff. So I grew into the role a little bit more, where I started to ask them more questions instead of me just speaking all the time, because that sort of defeats the purpose of the role. Under
23s football, there's often question marks about its benefit and how near to men's football it is, because you can watch under 23s football, particularly at the standard of Manchester United and Liverpool and Chelsea and the very best teams, and the quality of football is insane. It's so high in the speed and the technical ability, yet there doesn't feel like there's those sort of crunching tackles. There's not as much at stake. How would you say it is as a learning environment for real good quality young players in comparison to, say, going out on loan to Championship or League One?
Well, it gets to a point where you have to go out on loan then. I think if you're getting into the 21, 22 mark, it's not going to really help you that much. But when the lads come through, when they finish with the under 18s and they step up to the under 23s, it can help them, But it does sort of, it doesn't really have that feel of like the league games. There's a lot of, it's focused on a lot of sort of ideal football where we will play out from the back from every given opportunity, from every goal kick. But then if lads then go out on loan into the leagues, it's like push up to the halfway line and pick up the second balls. It's that sort of pressure of getting 3 points every week that's missing, and sometimes there can be a bit of a dead atmosphere in the games. But that's where I would try, and if when I was playing, I'd try and drive the intensity of the game and drive the intensity of the players, because some games can be a little bit boring and a little bit sort of, you have the ball, then we'll have the ball, and sometimes you're missing that real football aspect.
I'm sure there's still a turn of pace there at 36 even, but when you look back on the games you played this season, is there any players you came up against who particularly stood out, who particularly gave you a difficult time?
Mainly in training, to be honest with you, because I was training most days. Well, I couldn't train every day. Sometimes the lads would train 6-7 days on the bounce, but I think I'd probably be now maybe four max at this stage. But there's some really, really good players coming through the system. I trained a few times with the under 18s, trained the majority of the time with the 23s, coached the under 16s, so and the 15s. So there's really some good talent coming through the club itself. But when I think about the players that I played against this season, I wouldn't even know their names, to be honest with you. I was just trying to survive myself on the pitch. I couldn't tell you, but it's I would say that the lads in the United ranks are, they've got a hell of a chance.
Yeah. So now that you've stepped away from the playing side, is the intention to stay at Manchester United in a coaching capacity?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm going to be involved in the PDP, which is the professional development phase. So it's like the under 23s and under 18s. So I'll be assistant coach through them ages, and then going down into the 16s. So that's as it stands at the minute. But there's been a bit of a reshuffle in the academy. There's been a few people that have left. So maybe things will change in the next couple of weeks. But that's how the role got put to me at the end of the season. So we'll see what the next few weeks bring. But I'll be continuing my coaching at United here. So it's great that I can step straight into that.
What an opportunity. I know people look at Manchester United at the moment and the first team and the struggles that have been there, and as you say, it does seem like it's a time of flux. There's a lot of changes going on both with the first team and behind the scenes. But to get to work with some of the best young players in world football, and United, while I'm sure they're competing with City and Chelsea and Liverpool for the pick of those players, a lot of them still end up, I'm sure, at Carrington. To get to work with those sort of talents at the start of your coaching journey must be incredibly exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Yeah, it's great. This season's been, it's been a great experience. And as you said, the talent is frightening, to be honest with you. I learned a few things off the lads at times, but it was, as I said, from right down to the under 14s. I've only seen down to the under 14s, but the talent coming through is, it's pretty exciting, to be honest. And I just, I'm looking forward to the start of pre-season and getting stuck into the coaching and basically see where it takes me, and hopefully I can help the lads along the way.
In terms of the business model for coaches working with the underage team? Obviously, the intention is that some of these progress and become established first team players. They're the next Marcus Rashford and, you know, become a very valuable commodity. There's also then a level below that of players who can go and have a hugely successful career elsewhere, as you did yourself when it came to Manchester United and leaving. Is that something that is spoken about, of, you know, we need actually not just players for our first team, but players who are valuable to the club and can bring in fees from other teams in the Premier League or from the Championship?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's only a very, very small percentage that actually get into Manchester United's first team. So basically, with all the lads, we're basically trying to get them a job at the end of their time at Man United. So whatever level that is at, you want to try and get them to play at the highest level. But I think that was one of the reasons they wanted to bring me in, because I left United at a young age and I went on to make a half decent career for myself. So I think it was a bit of an example to the lads, where you sort of go, look, at, if you don't make it at Manchester United, it's not the end of the world. You can go on and make a good career for yourself. So that's definitely got to be the message to the young lads, because I think at times it's such a disappointment to leave Manchester United that some lads don't recover from it. So they have to see the bigger picture and realise that it's a really, really small number that actually get into the Manchester United first team. So yeah, it's just trying to get the lads jobs at the end of the day. I
think it's 20 years ago this summer that you first went to United and signed for Manchester United. When you look at that setup now for 16, 17-year-olds coming over, how different is it from the United you arrived at? It's very different. When I was there, it was we had one under 17s coach, and we had one physio. Under 19s, we had the same, reserves the same, but in the under 23s alone, including myself, there was like maybe 4 coaches, and there was like 2 or 3 physios, 2 or 3 sports scientists. So that it's mad. Like, it's mad the stuff that's involved in the academy, the work that's put into it, and the lads have a great opportunity to really learn off all the coaches that are to their disposal, and they've got some great resources at United. So they've got to make the most of it to get themselves a career. But that'll be the big difference that I noticed coming back. So you went to United in the summer of 2002. We've obviously done a lot of anniversaries lately of something that happened 20 years ago. So you arrived at United straight after Saipan?
Yeah.
I hate to do it, but...
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Did anybody around there care what had happened at Saipan?
Well, I don't know. Well, it was a big thing in Ireland, wasn't it? And
just a bit.
Yeah, it was a big thing back home, but over here, it was. I don't know. I was 16 at the time. I was like a rabbit in headlights, to be honest with you, coming over.
Yeah.
I was coming into Manchester United and I was seeing me heroes walking around beside me, so it was quite a lot to take in. But I remember meeting Roy when it was, I don't know, my first week or so. So that was quite a surreal moment. Obviously, seeing all the stuff that went on back home, but I wasn't gonna ask him about anything. To be honest,
why didn't you stay, Roy?
Yeah,
day one.
Yeah, so it wasn't really spoken about, to be honest.
Would he have taken an interest in what was going on with the younger Irish lads around?
Yeah, well, he took an interest in the younger lads. Yeah, I was the only Irish lad there at the time, so it was John O'Shea he was in the first team when I went there. So he'd always took an interest in what was going on around the club. He was club captain, and he was driving standards around the training ground. So yeah, he'd always keep a close eye on what was going on.
Just to finish up on this season then, obviously at the end of the season, as it sort of petered out from a first team point of view, there were a lot of opportunities for probably some of those guys you were playing with and some of them you were coaching. Hannibal obviously came on in the game against Liverpool and made quite the impression. Those 3 or 4 players who got opportunities, and it's even Charlie Savage was on the bench on the last day of the season. out of those guys, how many of them do you think next season Erik ten Hag will integrate into his squad? Do you think that quite a few of them have an opportunity to make it?
Yeah, it depends on what they want to do, to be honest with you. You know, that's one of the things that I try and tell them is when you go up there, you have to make an impact. You have to sort of leave your mark. And you know, I know Hannibal left his mark when he came on against Liverpool.
That was your doing, was it?
I don't know. There were some of the tricks of the trade, maybe, the dark arts. No, but they've got to, you know, when they go training now with the new first team manager, they've got to show that they want it. You know, sometimes I feel as if young lads they can just go up to the first team and they can pass them by. So you know, they just got to show that real desire that they want to make an impression and they're hungry to succeed. Because you see a great example of that this season is Anthony Elanga. He went up there and supposedly in training he was at it every single day, and then in games he was at it, and he stayed there. You know, you don't want to be going up to the first team, having one or two training sessions, then coming back down and, you know, sort of floating in between, sort of no man's land. You've got to go up, make an impression and really try and impress the manager.
I guess it's a bit of a shock to the system for a lot of those guys when they do go up to the first team, because when they're playing age grade football, they've always been the best from a very young age. Even when they go to Manchester United at under 16s, under 18s, they're probably still in the pick of the bunch of that crew. So to go to the first team and just be another player, even for their ego, to get used to that is something that probably is a bit of a shock.
Yeah. The jump up is very, very big. Yeah, considering, you know, going into Manchester United's first team, maybe not this season, but you know, you're going into one of the greatest clubs in the world. You're going into their first team. It's a hell of a jump. You know, you think maybe a loan might sort of bridge that gap, but when they're just going straight up from the 23s into that environment, yeah, it can be huge and it can be a bit daunting. But that's what I mean. You got to show what you're made of. You got to have that feeling of like, you know, I belong here and I'm going to show you that. And just by running around and doing everything you can in that training session can sometimes leave an impression on the manager. The manager can look at you and think, you know, I can rely on this guy and I might need him in the future. So it's just, yeah, it's making that mark on people.
Have you met Erik ten Hag yet?
No, I've not met him. No, he was. I know he was sort of in and around the training ground at the end of the season, but. No, I've not personally met him.
In terms of the longer term future on the coaching side, it's obviously something you have a passion about. Is it coaching as a route towards management, or do you see yourself being satisfied actually just being on the training ground every day and making players better?
At the minute, I'm really enjoying making players better. Well, I hope they're getting better, to be honest with you, or I don't know, shouldn't be doing it, but it's been good. I've really enjoyed this season, and I can sort of see, you know, you get that satisfaction of when you're talking to young lads, and then you can see them making improvements on the pitch. You know, it is very satisfying. But I initially got into it to manage. I think would be the end goal. But do you know what I mean? It's such a. I think I'm on a bit of a journey now, so I'm just going to see where it takes me. I said when I was playing, I wish I enjoyed the journey more. So this time I'm not in a big rush. I'm going to try and, you know, listen to my own words and try and enjoy the journey more and try and pick up the experience of coaching and being able to be able to take a full session and be confident in doing that and build up that experience. And then hopefully at the end of it, then I could go, right, let's go. I want to manage a team now and go into the league and start playing for points. But you know, God knows what will happen. We'll see how it goes in the next year or so.
Yeah, it's going all right so far anyways, and it's certainly at a good place to learn, I think. All our football and off the ball is brought to you by Sky. All the football you'll love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sport. Paul McShane is with us. You can get your texts in to 53106. We do want to talk to you as well, Paul, because I know you were on recently enough talking about your club career, about the international side of things through the years and the 33 caps from making the initial breakthrough in 2006 under Steve Staunton. When you think back to that first cap, was it the Czech Republic that you made your debut against. There was a real buzz about you then as a young centre half coming in to a very established group of players. What's your memories of getting that initial call from Steve Staunton? Ah.
Sorry, say that again, Nathan. Sorry.
You're back.
Sorry. I got logged off there. Sorry.
No bother. I thought he definitely doesn't want to talk about the debut under Steve Staunton under any circumstances. I was just saying that when we look back now to sort of 2006 and you're, a very young man just starting out in football, there was a real buzz about you coming into the Ireland squad and the future, and particularly at the very beginning of the Staunton era of maybe what could develop over time. What's your memory of getting that initial call into the squad and what it was like to be around Staunton and some of those more senior players who were there?
Yeah, it was amazing. I got the call when I was at West Brom. I was playing week in, week out for West Brom at the time, and it probably came earlier than expected, to be honest. But I remember when I found out, I was really looking forward to it, and then I got into the squad, and there was some great players in the squad, and it was representing Ireland, so it was it was always something that I wanted to do, and I was keen as mustard, to be honest, and I wanted to just get straight down to business, and at the end of that trip it was Cyprus and Czech Republic, and luckily enough I got my breakthrough against Czech Republic, and went pretty well.
So were you in the squad for the Cyprus game?
Yeah, I was. No, I wasn't. I was in the squad for the trip, but I wasn't on the bench for the first game. So I was watching from the stands against Cyprus.
A bit of a baptism of fire.
Yes, well, watching it was mad. And then there was I think Andy O'Brien got injured. There was a few injuries. And then I remember Steve Staunton saying to me after the game, saying, be ready for the Czech Republic game. So I was like, let's go. I nearly pulled me pants at the time, but I was like going, let's go for it. So so I sort of knew from that moment that I was going to be playing the Czech Republic game. So I was just I was trying not to worry too much. I was just trying to not think about the game and just train and get ready, just get physically and mentally ready for it.
Staunton was such a great player for Ireland and at club level as well, and an exceptional defender. Was he someone who was able to take you aside ahead of that game on the defensive side of things and explain to you what he wanted from you when you were coming on to make your debut?
No, he pretty much left me to it, to be honest. I think he just said, go and do what you do. And that was good enough for me, to be honest. There wasn't too much information where I think that can happen to young lads. I've been in the squad at times where people are about to make their debuts, and there's people going, look, do this, do that. If this is happening here, you do this. And then I just think that their heads are just full. I'm just thinking, just leave them be. You know what I mean? It's too late now in the dressing room 5 minutes before the game. So it's just let them bring what they've got to the party, and that's it. So that's what happened to me, really. We just sort of try to keep me probably relaxed as much as possible, and it worked for that game.
With hindsight, do you look back and when you think about that time, and you would have grown up, I'm sure, I don't know if you remember Italia 90, but would have remembered 94, and have had very vivid memories of 2002 and the love and the passion that was there for the national side. That Cyprus game always felt like a bit of a turning point in almost the relationship between the fans and the team, and the criticism became a bit more vicious at times, and it turned very quickly under Staunton. Was that apparent when it's your first time in the squad, but was it apparent that maybe this wasn't what you had expected representing your country to be?
It was sometimes it was a bit crazy, to be honest. But my first squad was when I think it was Miss Piggy turned up to the training ground and tried to get a picture with the Muppets, at the team bus. I don't know who arranged that, but that was a bit of a eye opener.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is intense. But I just thought like representing Ireland was it was my dream. So I didn't try and let that affect me. I just wanted to go out there and represent my country, and every time I'd done that, it was a big honour for me. But yeah, look, the criticism that was there was, you definitely noticed it. But you tried to sort of block that out and just try and get on with it.
I'd imagine it's very different to club level, and I don't want to underestimate how passionate English football fans are at club level. But when it is Ireland, your family are hearing it, your friends are hearing it. They're probably feeding a little bit back to you as well. Do you know what your man said? Was there ever a period where you thought, bloody hell, like, come on, lads, like I'm representing Ireland. I'm doing what every young kid is dreaming of, and I'm just getting unnecessary stick?
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Like, it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and when things don't go as well as people expect, you're going to get that criticism. But it's just about trying to block that out and just try and keep going. Things would get dripped back to you and stuff. That's just natural thing to happen. But at the end of the day, we were going out onto the pitch representing the country and trying to do the best for the country in every game. So you couldn't let that bog you down too much. And I know that it was the camaraderie in the squad was outstanding. And when the criticism on the outside was happening, I think we grew stronger together. And there were some great lads that I played with over those years with the Irish team, and that's what got us through, that camaraderie.
Managers had a lot of trust in you as well. Your relationship with Trapattoni, I think you played the first ever game that Trapattoni had, was it the friendly against Serbia, and you were sort of consistently in and around the squad. The best period under Trapattoni to sort of build up towards the playoff, there was a run of fixtures there where it really felt that group was coming together, and you were a big part of it. And Andrews and Whelan had developed something in midfield. Like Duff and Keane are still pretty much at their absolute peak. When you look back on your Ireland career, was that when it felt at its best?
Yeah, well, yeah, there was moments in every stage really, but that was a really a good stage of my Irish career. I think it was the clean sheets, was the record clean sheets that we kept. I think it was maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 in a row. So it was great to be a part of that. Yeah, it was great to be a part of the Croke Park games. Always stick in my mind. Those first initial games, the first one against Wales, which we won, the one against Slovakia, which we won. That was a good period. And then we lost against Czech Republic away, which pretty much that was it for our qualification that year. But the Trapattoni years were brilliant. I loved playing under Trapattoni. He was learned quite a lot off him when he initially first came in, and playing those games and the run that we were on, it felt pretty special, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What sort of stuff would Trapattoni talk to you about?
I used to love when he'd randomly show us goals from like something that would happen in the Premier League. Just these little things where, for example, defenders in a wall that were, when a striker would join the wall and what you do and would you stand behind him. It was just like he would have like a discussion in the meeting room, and it was, I used to love that. I used to learn so much where I'm thinking, right, what's he going to show us this time round? And then it was just great, learning from him. When it's something different, I always find that you learn quite a lot, because you're not really criticising yourself or the team. You're criticising, other teams and other players. And I sort of, even at United now, I sort of do that with the young lads, where I'll pick goals from the Premier League or whatever football's on the telly, and we'll sort of talk through. Sort of have a bit of an open forum.
Right. So Trapattoni wanted your opinion.
Yeah, he would talk about certain goals that would happen, whether it was in the Premier League or whatever, and he'd basically just discuss it. Or if you disagreed, you weren't in the squad the next time.
Were you?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Were you vocal?
No, I was listening to him. I was just trying to soak up every word that he said. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time under the trap. So, his mentality towards games as well, and he was a winner, and you got that passion off him, got that passion and enthusiasm off him, and I think that ran through the squad.
Any criticism that was ever there around Trapattoni was more around the style of football in an attacking sense. As a defender, though, you mentioned that long run of clean sheets. Like, Ireland were as solid as they've been in recent times during the Trapattoni era. As a defender, then, was it very simple, his instruction, or was there a lot to it?
No, it was pretty simple. It was pretty straightforward. It was quite a defensive setup that he'd have. Our wide midfielders would do a lot of work, sort of doubling up on the outside, and we'd basically want the two strikers and the two midfielders to go and win us the game. We'd have Keith and Glenn sitting there, so it was pretty solid shape. And on the training ground, he always sort of done that shape and worked on it quite a lot. So it was, it wasn't complicated. It was pretty easy instruction, and it worked for us at the time. And I know towards the end it wasn't great, and it got criticised a lot for the standard of play. But when it was good, it was good. It was. I learned a lot off Trapattoni at the time.
It was probably at its best that night in Paris. Are you over Thierry Henry?
No, not really. I don't think I could ever be over that, to be honest with you. Especially the night that was in it, to qualify for the World Cup, and we were flying at the time in the game, and for something like that to knock us out is it's a sickener. Especially when you got VAR these days. Every time VAR comes on, I'm thinking, Jesus, if only we had that. It's sometimes it's difficult sometimes to even I don't know, even to talk about that night, or even to hear his name sometimes. It's it sort of brings back memories. It was a tough one to take.
When you watch it back, are you looking at it going, God, if I'd stepped over here earlier, this might have happened? Like, do you look at it defensively in any way, or do you just think, like, this guy handled the ball, it's a clear and obvious handball, nobody ever thinks about this passage of play again if the referee just makes the right decision, and we all move on with our lives?
No, I think after every goal that I've conceded in my career, I always look at myself and I always think, what could I have done better at that time? But that goal, it was just a tricky one because, first of all, he handled it, which are not.
It's not expected.
Yeah, which you're not allowed to. If the referee said before the free kick was taken, said, "Listen, we're going to play Gaelic now for the next 5 minutes," maybe I might have done something different. But I wasn't expecting him to catch the ball basically twice to keep it in play. So when I look at it, two lads go up for a header. I'm expecting them to miss it, which they did, and then it bounced awkwardly around sort of waist height, and I'm thinking, right, can't really do anything here. If I go to slash at it, it could end up in the middle of the goal. It could end up anywhere. So it was a difficult one to deal with. And this is all that, you're talking a millimetre of a second to decide all this stuff. And it was going out of play. So he caught the ball, which you're not allowed to do. So it was disappointing. It was basically from the whole start of it, when the playoffs got seeded. That was the start of it. It was never seeded before, but there was a few big hitters in the playoffs, and it felt like UEFA didn't want the big hitters to meet each other, in case they missed out on the final. So there's a bit of a bad taste in people's mouths with that. And then we got France, who were very strong at the time, and then for the handball to happen, which it was blatantly obvious what had happened. So for that to knock us out of the World Cup was a really, really tough one to take, and it still is, to be honest.
I'm not surprised that it still is, because even though we have spoken about it at length for 13 years at this stage, like, this is your life, this is your career, this is getting to a World Cup finals taken away, and like the anger, I still remember the anger talking to the players that night. I've never seen anything quite like it when the realisation sunk in amongst the players who were further away as to what had happened. That's not something that's ever going to leave you. Like, when you're talking about your 33 Ireland caps, people will look at World Cups and you should have been there, you could have been there.
we should have been there, just because the performance from the team that night was outstanding. It was probably one of the best Irish performances that I can remember. I remember on the pitch as well, feeling, it felt great. It felt as if everything was going really well. I felt as if we were pushing for a winner. So the whole night was going brilliantly until the madness, until the blatant handball. So to be snatched away from you like that is it's a tough one to take, especially when you dream of playing in World Cups as a kid, and it's basically the pinnacle of football is the World Cup. You grow up watching it, so for it to be taken away from you like that is it's a tough one. It makes you sick, to be honest.
And this is, as I say, well over a decade on. We're talking about this. When you look back, if you were to talk to family, friends around that time, did it take you a while to really get over it? Did it have a big impact on your life in the days and weeks afterwards?
It did. Yeah, I did. I had a bit of a I can't say it, but I had a bit of a screw it moment. You know what I mean? It was like I had a bit of a sure, here, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So I had a bit of a moment where I didn't care anymore. Do you know what I mean? It was like, but I think it worked for me quite well, where I'd sort of relaxed. I was thinking,
was that with football?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing, and the aftermath after it as well. I was just like, here, this is ridiculous. So I sort of just, I don't know. I had a bit of an effort moment. You know what I mean? I can't say it, obviously, but I had a bit of an effort moment where I was just like, let's just crack on here.
What's the point?
Yeah, let's just just give everything that I've got. Whatever happens. I was trying to control what I can control, and obviously this is something that I couldn't control. So I don't know. It was but it was a tough period. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one to take, and still sort of, it still makes you feel sick, but that's it is what it is. Yeah, as they say on Love Island.
Effort, as you say. What could have been. I need to take a quick break. Stick with us for a few minutes. There's a couple of other things I want to run through with you, but we do need to take a quick break. Paul McShane's with us, 53106, the text number. Nathan with you this evening. Northern Ireland beaten 1-0 by Greece in League C of the Nations League. Remember, live commentary of Armenia against the Republic of Ireland on Saturday at 2 o'clock here on Off the Ball. Paul McShane has been with us on the football show tonight. We've just been chatting about Thierry Henry of all people yet again. Paul, you did get to go to a major finals, Euro 2012. You were in the squad under Giovanni Trapattoni. Somewhat strange circumstances at the time. I was just reading back over it because I remember the Kevin Foley situation. What's your memory of how all that played out? Because Trapattoni had named his 23-man squad, you weren't in it, there was some injury doubts, he brought you in, and it just seemed with the Foley situation that he didn't handle it particularly well, almost just left it too late to make a decision.
It was another mad situation, that. I remember at the time I was sort of going through a bit of a period, a hull where we got relegated from the Premier League, and they just wanted a whole sort of new squad. And I went on loan. To Crystal Palace, and that's the second year we were relegated. This sounds okay in my mind, so bear with me. We got relegated. Basically, the club wanted to just get rid of everyone, so I was sort of in that bracket. But I wanted to stay, so I had to go out on loan. I went on loan to Crystal Palace to try and play as much football as I could to get in that Euro squad, because I knew it was on the horizon. So I went there to try and play as many games as I could, and then towards the end of my time there, I'd done my hamstring. So I thought that was it. I thought that was my chance for the Euros out the window. But I basically just I stuck with it. I rehabbed myself basically, because I didn't really want it to be known that I was really struggling. I tried to play it down that I was okay, but it was bad enough. So I was doing a bit of rehab myself, and the squad got named, and I was on the standby list. Disappointed with that, but totally could understand the decisions behind it. So I just kept myself fit, just for for that chance that I might be called in. So I got myself fit again, rehabbed my hamstring, and then I knew I was sort of ready to go in, even though I wasn't really like going mad. You know what I mean? I wasn't training every day. I wasn't driving myself crazy, because I knew if I was doing that and I didn't get picked, I'd be really, really disappointed. So I just kept ticking over, and I sort of had, right, I'm not in the squad. Anything else is a bonus. So, but I was fit. Hamstring was fine. So then I got the phone call, and I was ready to go, and I got the phone call. I think on the Wednesday. I think we were playing Bosnia on the Friday, maybe. I've probably got the days wrong there, but it was a quick turnaround when we played Bosnia. So, still I went into the squad, trained, was very sort of relaxed about it. And then the Bosnia game was a game where I was like, right, okay, I mightn't be at match fitness here, but I've got nothing to lose. So just went for it, played right back, and had a really good game. And then then I got brought into the pre-tournament camp in Italy, and I trained well, played a game or two out there, done pretty well in the games. But the thing is, the final 23 squad hadn't actually been named, so I think that was a mistake that maybe Trapattoni made at the time, where he named 23 players and people on standby when the squad didn't actually have to be announced until 4 weeks time. So I think that's where the confusion was, and probably if he looks back, he wished he didn't actually name it final 23 at the time he did. But I went in, and then it came to naming it, and I was in, and Kevin Foley was out, and it was brilliant. Like, I was absolutely delighted, but at the same time I was devastated for Kev, because he's a friend of mine. I've grown up playing with him in the underage, and he's a great lad, and I think he'd sorted out tickets for his family and stuff for a game. So it was.
That's tough, isn't it? Like, I know football is by its nature, sport has to be ruthless, and you're always looking to take somebody's place and to get in there. But for him, having been named in the 23, family overjoyed, going. I think he was very strong afterwards. Said he felt betrayed by what had happened. Like, it's not your fault. You did nothing wrong here, but it's a difficult position to find yourself in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was devastated. I was devastated for him. I spoke to him afterwards, and I was like, look, it's I apologise for it. It's absolutely it's shocking. But I wanted to go to the Euros as well. And I felt as if I should have been there. So yeah, I just done everything I could to be in the squad, and I was the lucky one that got chosen. But I was absolutely gutted for Kev. I was absolutely gutted for him. It was a terrible way to go out with the squad. And as I said, it was the naming of the final 23. Which was the big confusion. We shouldn't have named the 23 until it actually had to be confirmed. So. I got that little bit of luck, got the opportunity, and I grabbed it with both hands at the time. Yeah.
We're out of time, unfortunately. I feel like there's a full football show in Euro 2012 in that team hotel, and the carnage that went on around it, and the actual games themselves out. We might try and check in with you again over the course of the summer, Paul, but listen, congrats on the official retirement, and very best of luck with the coaching as well at Manchester United. We'll keep a close eye on how that goes for you. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Okay. Cheers, Nathan. Thank you.
Paul McShane there with us on the football show. Lots of good stories from Paul. We'll definitely check in with him again over the next couple of months. As I say, Northern Ireland beaten tonight. Ireland in Yerevan. That's live here and Off the Ball against Armenia.